Hello, this is Jeff again from DocuData. In this tutorial, we will take a look at how you can customize the look of your record center. We will change the logo that is used on delivery slips and invoices, modify your thermal labels by adding the same logo to that as well, see how you can modify languages and text in use at the record center, and apply record center-wide web customizations. Let's start by looking at the logo that is used on delivery slips and invoices. We will name the logo rclogo.bmp and place it in the data folder of your EDC installation. If we wish to prevent our logo from looking stretched or squashed, we should provide a logo with a ratio of 426 wide by 300 high. Simple black and white logos tend to work best. This is especially true if you send invoices by email, which are sent as black and white, or if you wish to print your logo on your thermal labels. Let's start with this image here, which looks like this. We have the dimensions of 300 high by 426 wide, therefore it will not be distorted. It is black and white, therefore we will not have trouble with the color being converted. However, it does have circles which sometimes come out with strange edges, but we will give it a try. First, I will rename it to rclogo.bmp. Next, I need to figure out where to put it. So I will open the location that the EDC shortcut is pointing at. Go up one level to find the data folder, in this case called demo data, but in your case probably just called data. Copy this path for future use because we're going to be using it a lot today. Then drop in my renamed image. Windows confirms that I want to replace the existing file, which I will accept. We can get a preview of how it will look by looking in the delivery module at the delivery slip. But rest assured that it will probably look better on your printer. And we can look at your invoices as well. Note that if we wish to fully customize your invoices, we will use the custom invoice template, which will be covered in a different tutorial. You may also wish to modify your thermal label templates. In this example, we will add the same logo to our box label template. In some cases, you may also wish to add a field to a label template. Finally, we'll have to adjust the font size and make sure that the fields are properly aligned. To access the label templates, we will go to the Management tab and open the System Information module. Then we will go to the Edit menu and select Label Templates. Double-click on Box, click the Image button on the toolbar, then click the label where you wish to add the image. Right-click on the image placeholder and perform the following operations in the menu that appears. Select Maintain Aspect Ratio so that your image does not become distorted. Select Stretch so that you can adjust the image to the desired size. Ensure that the image will be visible. And finally, select the image that you wish to use. Now we can select objects and use the handles to resize and reposition them. Note that holding down Control while pressing an arrow key will cause the object to move around, while holding Shift and pressing the arrow keys will cause the object to become bigger or smaller. To help us to align objects more precisely, we will display the Align or Space toolbar by going to the View Toolbars menu. Notice that there are other toolbars available which you may feel free to explore. Holding down the Control or Shift key, I will select first the customer label and then my image, and I will click the Align Left button. This will align the left border of the image with the customer label. These buttons on the left part of the toolbar will add items that will be the same from one label to the next. The buttons to the right look similar, except that they show a table in the background. These will add database items that will change from one label to the next. As an example, we will add our web address to each label by clicking on the A and then clicking below on the label. I will change the font and then reposition the text. To change the content of my text label, I will modify it up here on the toolbar. When we are done making changes, we will close the window. Be sure to click Yes when you are asked if you wish to save your changes. If you have made very small changes to a label, the system may not detect that you have made changes. If this happens, in order to save your changes, do something larger like add a text field, save your changes, remove the text field, and then you will be able to save your changes. On the Inventory tab, I will go into the Box module and print off a thermal label to view the end result. So it's far from perfect, but you probably get the idea. Note that if you have printed a label, be sure to rip it up to make sure that it doesn't get stuck to a box and result in confusion with duplicate labels. Next, we will look at languages and text. EDC currently supports the use of 2 languages at once, where different employees or users may have a different preferred language. It is also possible to modify individual strings. Here we see a login screen that displays both English and French. Once I log in as a specific employee, only one language is displayed. If I wish to switch languages, I can go to the Help menu and select Change Language. And now all terms are displayed in French. The default language for an employee is set on the Management tab in the Employee module. There is a similar setting on the Customer tab in the Authorize User module for your end users. Languages are managed through the Dictionary module. If your record center does not use multiple languages, you may wish to click the More button and select Change Bilingual Terms to English only. If there are any individual terms that you wish to modify, you may modify it directly in the grid or use the Search and Replace functionality. For example, our delivery slip uses the term block letters. Many record centers change this to print name to make it clearer for their customers. Enter the term that you wish to find, the term that you wish to replace it with, then click OK. The system walks you through each string that contains the text that you entered, allowing you to accept or reject the change. Note that it is necessary to be careful when changing strings, as some strings are used in more than one place. Also, this can lead to confusion when using the manual if your terminology no longer matches that in use by DocuData. I will refresh the dictionary by changing languages and changing back, or by logging out and logging back in again, and here we see that our desired change has taken effect. Now let's look at customizing ActiveWeb. A deployment wizard walks you through the process of deploying ActiveWeb. This makes it easy to change your color scheme and logos, and also to replace the default manual with your own customized help manual. Finally, we will see how to modify your announcement page of ActiveWeb and make it specific for different customers. To deploy ActiveWeb, we will need the JDK or Java Development Kit installed on the computer that we wish to run the deployment from. You can find a link to this under Tools in the Support section of DocuData's website. The wizard for deploying ActiveWeb is available through the System Information module, which can be found on the Management tab. From the File menu, select Deploy ActiveWeb. Tomcat is the web server used to host ActiveWeb. In the Tomcat host line, we will enter the address for accessing our web server internally. Enter your Tomcat username and password, which will likely have been modified for security reasons. The RPC server is how ActiveWeb communicates with EDC. This typically resides on your data server. Its default port is 11003. Since communication between your RPC server and Tomcat are internal to your network, they are not usually SSL encrypted. This top line allows you to select which ActiveWeb package to deploy. This can be useful if you need to support very old versions of Internet Explorer, which are only compatible with the older versions of ActiveWeb. This second line permits you to name your ActiveWeb application. This name will appear on your ActiveWeb homepage, and it may also appear in the link that you provide your customers to access ActiveWeb. Note that if necessary, you may deploy ActiveWeb multiple times with different names and other deployment parameters. Users may customize their own search panel position and number of results per page. However, you can set the default number that will appear the first time a user accesses ActiveWeb. You can customize your color scheme by clicking on these buttons here. I have selected a pale blue background color, golden borders, darker blue highlights, and even darker blue text. We can modify the images used by ActiveWeb's interface by clicking on this button here. This opens a folder where we can see all of the images that are used by ActiveWeb's interface. We can replace any of these images by swapping it for another image with the same name and similar dimensions. You will probably want to replace the logos that are used by ActiveWeb's login page and also by the login page used on mobile devices. You may also add new images and content, such as this PDF document that I've added here. We will be using these in the next step when we design our announcement pages. This second button gives us access to the help manuals that our customers can view online. These can also be replaced. The English manuals are contained in the LANG0 folder. Regular accounts see the box and file manual. Tape-only accounts see a different manual where the icons are different. When we are ready to deploy, we will click Next. EDC warns you if any users are currently using ActiveWeb. If we see a message such as this, we would typically want to try again later so as not to kick our users out. And here we see that our deployment was successful. Finally, let's look at our announcement page and how we can modify it. I will start by clicking this shortcut to ActiveWeb. This area here is our announcement area. We can replace it with basically whatever HTML content we would like. And as a little side note, this button here is where your users would click to view the manual. You can use whatever HTML or text editor you would like to modify the announcement page. However, for this example here, I will demonstrate using SeaMonkey, which you can download for free online, for example at download.com. Let's start by finding the announcement page by following our EDC shortcut to the data folder. The shortcut points at the bin folder, so we will go up one to find EDCRC and then navigate into the data folder. In my case it's called demo data, but in your case it'll probably just be called data. I will highlight the path and press Ctrl+C to copy it, but if you wish you could just take a note of it and type it in when necessary. And here I will paste it in by pressing Ctrl+V, then I will press Enter, bringing me to a folder where I will locate rcwebhome.en.html. And now I see our announcement page, which I will bookmark for future reference. As with EDC, we will hold the Control key and press E to enter edit mode. This opens up a fairly intuitive editor where we can start by modifying the text. So I'll play around a little bit, applying a heading 1 style, and click the image button to add an image. We must access our images somewhere that is accessible to our customers over the internet, and also somewhere that is covered by an SSL certificate, so that your users do not get a message that your page contains unsecure content. I can find the web address of our images by going to our login screen and right-clicking on our login logo. In Google Chrome, I can then select Open Image in New Tab and simply copy the address that appears by selecting it and pressing Ctrl+C. Then I can come back to SeaMonkey and paste in this image location by pressing Ctrl+V. If you wish, you may type in alternate text that will appear if the logo is not available for any reason, then we will click OK. Note that if we wish to access a different image in the Images folder, we would keep the same path but type the other image's name. This is case sensitive, therefore if you have any uppercase letters in the image name, it must be typed exactly as it appears. Also note that images are copied over to the web server at the time of deployment. Therefore, if we add new images to our Images folder, we will need to redeploy the web in order to make them available. If you wish to make them available immediately, you may add them directly to your web server, however we will not see that at this time. Next, let's add a link to a document for our users to download. Click the Insert Link button on the toolbar. Enter the text that we wish to appear as the link. Paste in the link to the location that we wish to access. Because we placed our document in the Images folder, the path will be the same as the one that we just used. Then type in the name of the document. To ensure that our document will open in a new window, we will click on Advanced Edit. Select the attribute Target and the value blank, then click OK. Click OK again, and then click Save. On exiting SeaMonkey completely, it is convenient to save your tabs for the next session. So now let's see how it works. Our heading 1 style looks slightly different, but it still looks good. Our image is being properly displayed. And if we click on our link, it opens our PDF document in a new tab just as we wanted. Finally, let's look at what we need to do if we want to make an announcement page that is specific for one customer. When we reopen SeaMonkey, we see the tabs that we were working with most recently. We will go to the Announcement tab, and press Ctrl-E to go back into edit mode. From the File menu, select Save As, and in the file name we will insert an underscore followed by the customer key before .html. When we click Save, this page will replace the generic announcement page for the customer which we have just specified. Well, that's it for customizing the general look of your record center. I hope that you found this video useful.